What is up, guys? Archon Tsunami here, bringing you guys another YouTube video. In today's video, we're going to go over the patch notes, and then I'm going to go over the gameplay to show you visually the changes for the new update. Without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about some of the changes from the 1.7 update. So they fixed some backend stuff to help with performance issues, because I know the game had issues with like freezing, blue screening on the PS4 where it would just completely crash out. So it's good to see that they're working on some things, though personally I've had some really weird bugs since this patch came out. I had a bug where I was stuck in a lobby with one of my friends, and it gave me some random bot, I think, or some, at least that's what it looked like, some random bot name, and it changed my name to something called Scrim. And I couldn't leave the lobby no matter what I did, so there are definitely still some bugs that may have resulted from this patch. I didn't run into them before this, so I'm assuming it has to come from this particular patch itself. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things going on. Fix for a few bugs where some streaks and field upgrades were able to be flown out of bounds. I never ran into this, so I'm sure there's probably people that were using them to illegally get out of the map and get in walls and stuff. Good to see that they're working and fixing this stuff ahead of time. The game's only been out, what, 2 weeks now, so it's really good to see that they're working on fixes for out of bounds. Fix for a bug where a player being killed by an enemy with a variable zoom would not show the zoom function in the kill cam. That's kind of an interesting one. I wonder what it looked like on the kill cam when you'd get shot, because I've never ran into this either. Nobody I've ever really gotten sniped by has ever been running variable zoom to my knowledge. So that'd be kind of interesting. It'd look like the dude was just hip firing you from across the map. Somebody's getting reported. Fix for the Semtex warning audio being heard at the same volume whether in a building or outside. This one I'm not... I don't understand like what the fix is. Unless it's because it's supposed to sound different whether you're outside or inside. That'd be my guess. I guess inside it would probably be louder because there's a lot less, noises going on inside. In headquarters, players were able to place attack insert and respawn when their team owned the point. This has been fixed. Okay, that's a huge one. You could like respawn your entire team even though you own the headquarters. That would be a pretty game-breaking thing for headquarters, since you're not supposed to be able to spawn once you own it. Again, good to see this is being addressed. Shouldn't have been an issue in the first place, but good to see it is being addressed. Fix for various collision issues across maps. Again, didn't really experience any issues where I was getting stuck on things, but I'm sure some people probably were. I do notice that grenades sometimes would bounce off of structures in a weird way. Maybe that's another thing that was addressed with collision. Added UI that shows when XP events are active in the playlist menu. That's not important. Sprint and tactical speeds are now back to the speeds in the beta. Okay, so this change right here, this one is actually really big, and I will get into why it's really big in a second. Fix for a bug where the progress of bomb defusals can be seen by the team that planted the bomb. That's a little weird. I wonder what that was about, but I'm excited, glad to see that being fixed. Fix for a bug that revealed players to UAVs when they fired their weapons even if they had Ghost and a silencer equipped. Yeah, I guess. I think Ghost right now is in a weird state because we've gotten so used to it being where you actually had to be moving for it to be active, and they've kind of reverted it back to what it was in the old games where you could just corner camp with it and never show up on radar. You just run a silencer and you just be invulnerable to the UAV, and you just be sitting in a corner all game. Not a fan of that. Maybe Ghost will get switched on the line, we'll see. But it is good to know that they are at least trying to address some issues with the perk and the UAV system being changed a bit. Fixed an issue where if multiple personal radars were active on a team and both are marking the same enemy, only one player would see the enemy on their minimap. That'd be an interesting bug. Have your teammate and you both be running the same kill streak and you be calling out a guy and your teammate's like, no, there's nobody there. My personal radar's not picking them up, even though it said marked. This one was a huge one. I actually was running into this a lot. People in domination, especially on what is the map? I think it's a raid. Granza Raid is what it's called. No, gun something or other. Anyway, it's the map with the minecarts and the little mini section boiler room where everybody likes to go. A lot of people with riot shields would run in there and they would just use throwing knives, and because what was happening is the riot shield wouldn't go to their back like it's supposed to when they're in the middle of the throwing knife animation. They would literally walk at you with the riot shield and just stick you with knives, and you couldn't do anything about it because you couldn't shoot through the front of them. You actually had to like bum rush them and try to dodge the throwing knife while getting kind of behind them or on top of them so you could shoot past the shield. It was pretty annoying to deal with. I'm really glad that this is a fix and that wasn't an intended function of the riot shield in this game. So riot shields seem to kind of be a buggy issue right now for them. So Claymore's detonating an enemy claymore with bullets is now non-lethal when at full health. That's huge. We've also reduced the trigger and damage radius and also reduced the damage width to better match the trigger width. So claymores are getting hit from two areas here. Personally, I think the only thing that needed to be done was to make it when you shoot a claymore and if you're at full HP and you destroy it, it shouldn't kill you. That alone would be enough to deal with claymores. And not taking any damage from hitting one from the back when you destroy it would have been enough. But as I mentioned earlier with the sprint changes reverting back to the beta, I'll show you guys here in a little bit. You can actually run past claymores now, and then when they detonate, they don't hit anything if you put them too close to the edge of a wall. So claymores now kind of have to be put a little deeper around the wall. And the problem with that is that on certain maps, you can actually run like as far out right as you can. Let's say it's up against the left side wall. You can actually hug the right side of the wall without the explosive perk EOD and still survive, as long as you're on the max radius of the claymore. So I'll show you guys that a little later and I'll mention it when it comes up. But claymores got hit by two things here. They got like turbo nerfed here, and then the move speed changes really hurt them as well. So it'll be interesting to see if the proximity mines, the little ones that are kind of like bouncing betties where they shoot up, if those don't become the new claymore for this game. I'm not sure if you can outrun the proximity mines. As far as I know, I don't think you can. You just have to duck them. So that'll be interesting to see if they get changed at all as well. I do feel like I said that they hit claymores a little too hard, because claymores are supposed to be aerial denial tools, and if you position them properly, they should be able to prevent somebody from getting into that area, and there were counter plays to the claymores to begin with. You used to be able to, you could stun them, and which would disable them for 3 seconds. You could use the spotter perk to see them through walls, I believe. It shows as like a yellow outline. And then there was the EOD perk, which has actually been buffed as well, which we'll get to in a second, where you now take non-lethal explosive damage if you're at full HP no matter what. So again, there were counters for claymores. It just seems like now it just kind of dogpiled on it to where claymores are completely useless. As long as your opponent, plays kind of smart. Battle chatter, remove the ability for enemies to hear when they've been called out by the opposing team. That was huge. I don't know how many times I turned on somebody or looked up above and seen somebody and shot them because I could hear him say, enemy over there, enemy by this. And it's like, oh, he must be talking about me because I'm here, And for him to have vision on me, you kind of deduce where they're at based on that. If you're like in a small doorway or something, or on B for, not gun run. Gun run I think is the one I was talking about earlier with the boiler room. Now I'm drawing a blank. There's B in a building in a warehouse. There's the L up top that people like to go up top in the window and shoot down at C. I don't remember the map name. If you guys can remember down in the comments, let me know. I'm still getting used to the map names. I am starting to remember them, just not as well right now. But anyway, battle chatter has been reduced. We also adjusted the enemy callouts so they're never from your operator. Enemy callouts now use a more restricted cone at the hip and even more restricted in ADS when calculating whether or not to trigger. And all that is basically when you're looking at a target, if they're not aimed probably right on them or your hip fire's not like right on them in front of you, you're probably not going to call them out. So if they're like in the corner off your screen to the left and you can like kind of see them out the corner of your eye, you're not going to call them out. That's all that changes. We'll continue to monitor this and make more traditional tweaks to battle chatter in future updates. I think that's probably going to be fine where it's at. This is kind of like a preemptive patch before a big patch comes, I believe. This is just to fix things a little bit, and then there's going to be like one giant patch later down the road. I would imagine probably before Christmas. That's going to address a lot of things. Slight increase to recoil while mounting. This is another big thing. Mounting, I cannot tell you how much I hate mounting in this game, just because when people get on a certain like head glitch, it's almost impossible to peel them off. Like it's almost impossible because their gun, it just turns into a laser beam. No matter what gun you're running, it's just a laser beam. And unless you like stun them, throw a million grenades at them, it's almost impossible to get them off that head glitch. So I am glad to see that there is going to be some recoil while mounting in your guns, not just a pure laser beam. LMGs were especially notorious for this. They'd post up like on windows and walls, and you just wouldn't be able to even hit them, and you just go down instantly. because you'd get view kicked and you're done. EOD now clamps damage to a non-lethal amount, assuming the player is at full health. So this is the EOD change I was talking about earlier. So EOD, if you don't like claymores, you don't like grenades, you don't like RPGs, run EOD. It will keep you alive for at least one of the RPGs that's coming your way, or grenade or whatnot. Even though there's probably gonna be like 800. Grenade spamming is the new thing once claymores got hit. Lighting continued updates player visibility in dark windows and dark areas. This one is another thing I'm glad they're touching on, but it did seem to break some areas. On Petrogard, I think is what it's called, there's a house over by C on the right. If you look in that doorway, it is just horrible now. You can't even make out that there's a player on the steps camping in the room. Like, it's pretty bad. And then there's other areas that are nice that you can actually see people in. So they're kind of getting it right, kind of getting it wrong. So more updates to lighting will probably come when the bigger patch comes that addresses a bunch more things. We've increased the occlusion percentage to filter footstep sounds behind geometry and adjusted the footsteps volume at a distance. We have another large footstep change coming in the next update, which will make crouch and ADS movement slightly quieter. Stay tuned. I'm glad. The footstep change kind of bothers me though, because the game's been out, what, a week and a half now? And you go from being able to hear like people like elephants no matter where they're at on the map to suddenly not being able to hear people half the time. And then you get like weird audio cues from people that are nowhere near you. Like I've had a dude upstairs making more noise as if he was on the ground floor with me since the update. And it confuses me where like I'm listening for footsteps every once in a while. If like I'm doing headquarters or something and I'm the last guy alive, I'm trying to see where they're coming from to the headquarters, and it sounds like they're behind me, and I turn and I get shot in my back by the guy who was walking like an elephant running down the hall, tactical sprinting towards me. So footsteps are a little bit buggy right now, I think. Not a fan of the current changes. Like I said, I don't want to be able to hear people a mile away either, but there's got to be some type of in-between where, I'm not hearing people above me with the same audio that I would hear them below me. Daily changes and active missions. This is all just progressive stuff for rank. Not really going to go in depth on that. That's just, like I said, challenges. If you want to go find the patch notes for the challenge stuff, you can. Obviously, you can find it on GameSpot. That's where I'm at right now. Call of Duty League, just an update for their rules. CyberTech fixed a bug where a player could lose their primary weapon and would be unable to see their view model after being revived by a teammate. That'd be an interesting one. I can't fire my gun. I don't have a gun anymore. What happened? I got revived. Kind of a funny bug. I mean, it'd probably be annoying to happen to you in an actual game, but it sounds hilarious. Ground War. I'm not going to get into the Ground War changes. I don't personally play Ground War. Again, if you guys want to look up the Ground War stuff, feel free. But yeah, that's going to do it for just the patch notes rundown themselves. I'm going to show you guys some of the visual in-game changes. Weird enough, I didn't see the 725 listed in these notes either. Okay. Why? Oh, hold on, wait a minute. Okay, never mind. So this isn't just challenges, progression, and rank. Hold on, let me actually go over this. Fix for a bug where launchers are okay. Fix for a bug where planning or diffusing 5 bombs. So wait, this is technically. They just kind of have this one in here for no reason. And the M4 change. Okay. Anyway, 725 got hit. Increases to the ADS and hipfire spread, reduced damage range. I'll be going over this change and showing you guys what it looks like now. I can tell you right now the 725 is perfectly fine. They didn't do much to it. It's still going to probably get hit again in the next patch if I had to guess. All they did was take like a couple inches off the range. And if you happen to just go all out with like range and slug rounds, you can still snipe people pretty much cross map with it. So if you choose to be like highly accurate with slug rounds, you're going to be consistent, no, but you will still be able to one-shot people cross map with slug. Even without slug, it's about half the distance, so still pretty far. Even the sawed-off variant hits from pretty far away, so you can still run and gun with it. Up close, you're still going to destroy people. M4A1 assault rifle, reduced damage range, small recoil increase. So the change to the M4, I from what I've played, it doesn't even seem like it was nerfed. Honestly, it still seems to melt people cross map. It still seems to just destroy everybody. Assault rifle, increased hit spread to reduce effectiveness up close, less damage at long range for full auto 5.56 rifles. So any rifle that uses, I'm guessing that type of ammo is nerfed. That's probably what, M4 I'm guessing? Nah, it can't be the M4. I don't know what other rifles this would affect. I don't keep track of like the ammo count in that. Or the rounds, the round types. I don't know why they didn't just specify which guns. I think that'd have been a little clearer to people. So your assault rifles are not supposed to be as effective at long range, because what was happening was the assault rifles were dominating like really long range, even sniper range, because you'd get view kicked while sniping with like, you'd just be jumbling your sniper all over the place. They would be hitting you with like no recoil on their gun, and before you could hit them and kill them, in most cases you were just dead due to the damage drop off. There were like really wasn't any. So assault rifles nerfed, M4A1 nerfed, doesn't feel like it, so don't worry guys, these guns are perfectly fine still. I think the only one that I noticed that felt really bad was the Scar. That gun feels horrible now, but outside of that, the M4 is still a powerhouse if you want to run that. SMGs increased move speed, increased ADS move speed, small reduction in sprint out time. Me personally, I thought SMGs were perfectly fine the way they were. Like, I thought the MP5 was dominating up close. Outside of shotguns, it was dominating up close fights. It didn't really seem like when I would pick one up that I was, dying because I was tactical sprinting and didn't have enough time to pull my SMG up. This is just an insane buff to SMGs. Some of the SMGs are bad, I will admit, but for the ones that were good, this is just going to make them even better. The Uzi's getting an SMG buff, so increased range. The MG, they are nerfing some of the LMGs. Increased hip spread, so you can't just hip fire it anymore. Damage range reduction, so it falls off a little further. Small ADS slowdown, so you can't just, instantly snap to people. So you actually have to use it like an LMG. You're not going to be able to just run and gun with this and just pull it up and, spray people down like what was happening. That was the other thing that would drive me insane. It's like a 100 bullet magazine, and, he's just spraying, running around with tactical sprint, sliding, flying through windows with it, just insta-killing everybody. So I'm glad to see LMGs are being slowed down and being used as what they need to be used, as area denial tools, where you just, you bunker down, you hold down an area, ADS, fire, use your entire magazine to, keep somebody from like the B flag or whatnot, instead of being a running gun. M91 LMG, increased hip spread, same thing. Small damage range reduction, same thing. PKM, that's pretty much it. Like all the LMGs got the same change for the most part. Pistols did get a buff here. Increased move speed, reduced sprint out time, increased damage range. So pistols are a thing that I've always kind of been about, ever since running into the B23R back in, I believe it was Black Ops 2, where it was just literally one bursting people, and then I can't think of the other pistol that they had in Black Ops 2 that would just destroy you at like all ranges. It was ridiculous. People wouldn't even run primary guns. Because it was the pick a perk system or whatever, where you could just pick whatever you wanted. They'd forgo like their primary weapon just for pistols and still dominate lobbies. So I'm not a fan of pistols being insanely strong. I will admit that in the beta, pistols were kind of weak. 357 revolver was really strong, and the 50 cal was really good too because it's a 2-hit kill. But outside of that, not a big fan of pistols being insanely strong. So we'll see how this buff changes and how, the 50 cal ends up doing in the 357 revolver. Hopefully, like I said, they don't get out of control. The other pistols did need a buff, I will admit that. The other ones were pretty bad. Like, it was like 5 or 6 shots to kill, even at close range. It should be probably 4 to 5 at close, I would imagine. And I don't think like the 50 cal should be able to kill you, like snipe you long range. I understand that a 50 cal is like a large bullet caliber bullet. But at the same time, just for like what the game is in close quarters combat, you shouldn't be allowed to just, laser somebody down the lane with a 50 cal round from a pistol. Crouch and prone no longer adjust recoil. So I heard that there was a bug or something where this was actually getting rid of your recoil when you like crouch and prone, like in the old Call of Duties, where if you didn't want recoil, you could just lay on your belly and just fire, and your gun would be pretty stable. So this has been removed. I don't know what the recoil values are. I'm sure they're probably decreased from standing, but they're just not like 0 anymore. And like I said, the Call of Duty League stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some of the footage from the changes. So stick around and I'll have that up for you. So after reading about the patch notes, let's see the patch in action, shall we? Let's look at the 725 first, and then we'll look at the claymores. So this is the max range that you'll get hit detection with the 725 sawed-off variant. So if you don't know what that is, that's the short-range version that you can run and gun with. So it's still got some pretty good range, and if you're quick enough, you can actually reload with sleight of hand and probably still kill the person that's right there. But it doesn't still compare to the current 725 with the long-range attachments, where you're still going to be one-shotting people from the max range on the sawed-off variant. And this is basically from the doorway entrance, from the white vans all the way to the doorway entrance. And this is a situation that could actually come up in a match, because there is a headquarters over here, and I believe the hardpoint also spawns over here. So somebody could be laying on the ground right here and, just snipe you from the doorway as you come around the corner. This is the max range where you will not get a one-shot anymore with the 725, but to me that's still pretty ridiculous, and it is possible to, two-tap, reload, and then two-tap again in order to get the kill, which you'll see here. So the 725 is still really powerful. The next bit of testing was done with the slug round and all the long-range attachments, just to see. I was pretty curious. You can still one-shot from even further out with the slug round in the gun, albeit a little inconsistently, since the spread the ADS goes everywhere. But like I said, it is still possible to snipe people with the slug round. That's about middle of the room, a little further from the white vans, not quite the max range you could be. Like I said, you can see the slug rounds go flying off the walls when I do miss. But when I hit, it pretty much one-hit kill. So the 725, even though it got nerfed, is still pretty ridiculous. Like I said, slug round, a little inconsistent, but even base-wise, you can still do some damage with the long-range attachments consistently. So I don't really think the nerf was that big of a deal. The 725 is still going to be a powerhouse. I'm sure we'll see it in the patch notes again in the future. And what you're going to see now is the claymore changes. So if you put a claymore in a doorway and somebody comes running through the door and it's too close to the door with the movement speed changes, you will no longer kill them anymore. So they not only nerfed Claymore's baseline, they also nerfed them by the fact of having the move speed buff, which prevents you from killing them with Claymores. So Infinity Ward did a really good job of removing Claymore meta from the game, that's for sure. And then you'll see here, I'll try to run through the door this time, and because I placed it a little deeper into the room, he can't run through the door. So FYI, if you're going to plant Claymores, plant them really deep or you're going to die. And I know I told you to plant Claymores really deep, but you don't want to plant them too deep into a room, because if you do, then this will happen. And this is without EOD, keep in mind. So you can actually survive a max range Claymore without EOD. So they've pretty much killed Claymores. You're going to have to find the middle ground if you're going to camp up in a room now, where the Claymore will detonate if somebody runs through and will kill them, but not be too far away where if it detonates it doesn't kill them. So let me know what you guys think down below of the changes to the Claymores. What do you guys think of the 725? I know I didn't cover the M4, the assault rifle changes, because to me they really didn't seem to make that much of a difference. Anyways, let me know down below what you guys think of the patch notes. Do you think we'll see another 725 nerf? What about another Claymore nerf? Do you think we'll see a buff to the Claymore to offset the changes? Anyways, thanks for watching, and catch you later. Thanks for watching.